Well, welcome to One-on-One with Jeff Shore, and I'm thrilled here to have not only one of a really good friend, but one of the great thinkers in the home building industry. From New Homes Directory, we have Jim Adams. Jim, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Jeff. How are you?
Great. Glad to have you. Jim and I have known each other for several years. I've watched the growth and the overwhelming success of newhomesdirectory.com. Just a very, very strong source and a real benefit to our industry. But Jim, I want to talk to you just a moment. Since we're here on newhomesalesleaders.com, I wanted to talk a little bit about your entrepreneurial background and a little bit about how we're dealing with people here who are going to be watching this who probably work for big corporations, but they probably have something to learn from people who are more entrepreneurially minded, like you are. So are any immediate tips or insights that you would have for people, because you come from a corporate background yourself, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. I worked for KB Home for, I don't know if I made it quite a year,
yeah,
but probably close to a year. So,
yeah,
I've definitely been able to experience the big corporate culture in the building industry. And then, of course, with New Homes Directory, actually, I was a realtor for a year before New Homes Directory. So, we're looking at like 12 years of being on my own.
Yeah. So when you look at the key differences between, what you need to do to be an successful entrepreneur versus being a successful executive, what are some of those similarities? What are some of those differences? And what can executives learn from entrepreneurially minded people?
Profit. That is the big thing.
Yeah.
So being in a big corporate culture, typically you have a lot of money behind you, a lot of money thrown at this thing or that thing, this project, that project. And, first of all, when the money's not your own, you tend to look at it a little different. You tend to maybe spend a little different. At least in my experience, not just with myself, but with seeing other executives as well.
Yeah.
The thought process is different. Unless you're really trained to be like this, your thought process naturally is different when it's other people's money. Yeah. But when it's your money and you need to spend $5 on something, all of a sudden that $5 needs to make you at least $5. But really, you want that $5 to make you 6, 7, 8, on up to infinity. But the last thing you want that $5 to do is just be completely lost.
Okay, now there's a problem though, right from the very beginning, because if I worked as a corporate executive for many years, and the idea was as it related to profit, it was much more how do we protect the bottom line. And I only learned, I think, later on in my career that there was no bottom line unless somebody was out there growing the top line. So you can get overly weighted, can you not, on protecting the bottom line and then sort of forgetting about the revenue stream that makes up the top line?
Well, if you're always protecting the bottom line, one of a few things is going to happen. You'll stop growing, or you'll just go backwards.
Right.
Very rarely have I seen a business, and certainly in my own experience, if I spend no money and as a mindset. Now, I'm not talking about, hey, we need to take a quarter and spend no money. But as a mindset that I don't want to spend any money on anything, the world evolves, business evolves, people evolve. You always have to be pushing forward on something. And whether it's using a person or a program or new machines, something, it takes money. And that's really the art of being that entrepreneur, is being able to see what money you spend is going to translate into profit, into growth. So, but if you don't do that, time will catch up with you.
Right.
And you will either stop growing and maintain that, which, if you can maintain the same thing, so if you grow a business to, $3 million a year and you're happy with that, maybe you can do that for a year and still do that. Eventually, though, time will catch up with you, and that stagnation will result in going backwards. So it's going to happen.
There's another aspect of being an entrepreneur, and we'll end with this here. That is, you're talking about how you protect your capital, about your financial capital. But if you're an entrepreneur, you have to also think about creative capital. And if you cannot maintain and sustain and advance your creative capital, then all the best financial capital in the world is not really going to help you. Just a couple of thoughts from your side about what you do to make sure that you're staying creatively strong in order to make sure that you can continue to direct the business in the right direction.
Sure. Well, what do you mean by creative?
Well, I'm talking about just that idea of how do you stay fresh? How do you stay strong? How do you drive yourself to come up with new ideas? Because when you grind and grind and grind and grind all the time, after a while, you just burn out. You can't come up with a creative thought to save your own life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, creativity, like we talked about recently, creativity, at least in my life, rarely shows its face when I've got my nose to the grindstone all the time. Mm-hmm. If I'm not taking time away, taking time off, taking time to relax and have fun, then that creativity just seems to disappear.
Right.
But when I'm, not stressed out,
yeah.
when I am taking that time, it tends to appear. But, my philosophy as an entrepreneur is I can't do it all myself. Or if I can do it all myself, there's going to be a ceiling that I'm going to see very quickly.
Right. Right.
So without other people that have a passion and a natural creativity, so it's in their personality, it's in their character. I try to surround myself with people that are optimistic, that are creative, that have a strong passion to express themselves in business. Mm-hmm. And in my company, the people that have done well and the people that we still have are those exact kind of people. Mm-hmm. The people that don't do well in this company, which, is a profit-driven company, but not only profit. I mean, There's a lot of things that end in profit. The people that don't do well are the people that they just want to come, they want a paycheck, they want to punch in, punch out, and they don't really want or feel like that workplace is an opportunity to express their creativity. So I leave it to other people as well and get a good synergy. I'm not the only one who comes up with ideas. I try to foster that within the company and get all that flowing. And, one big community is going to generate a lot more ideas in that creative that you're talking about.
Outstanding. Jim Adams, dohomesdirectory.com. Thanks for all you do, Jim, for our industry, and always appreciate our friendship. Appreciate your time today. Thanks so much.
Thank you.